Hey, beautiful people. It's Amaru Ra here. I often start my videos like that, right? If I make a video, I often begin with the greeting, "Hey, beautiful people." And the reason why I do that is because it is true. You are a beautiful person. You, watching this video, listening to these words, are beautiful. Every single one of you. And some people hear me say that, and some people cringe a little bit, right? It makes some people uncomfortable to hear themselves called that, especially if we might be relative strangers, right? We may not know each other that well. It makes you really uncomfortable to hear me say that. But sometimes it makes you uncomfortable just to hear anybody say it. Why is that? Um, does it is it because you don't see the beauty in yourself? Is it because you're not finding the intrinsic value in you as an individual? Now I say, hey, beautiful people, because I see and I know and I understand that there is intrinsic value in each one of us individually. You may struggle to figure out what that is. Sometimes we become so clouded, so distracted with everything around us, and disillusioned with not having things exactly the way we want them. So it makes it harder for us to see the value in ourselves. We're too worried about what's in front of us that we don't get a chance to reflect on what's within us, right? We're too worried about not having around us what we desire that we don't understand. And, and maybe you hear this so many times and you get tired of hearing it. But for those who want to take a chance, let this land, okay? Just hear me out on this one, and just let it sit for a minute. And if it does something for you, great. If it doesn't, maybe you'll come back to it later. But just let it sit. We get so caught up on not seeing the things we desire that we forget we already have. We already are everything that we need, right? And you miss that value in yourself. You miss what you are. You miss the amazing qualities that you have, the amazing power that you have, because you're so caught up on trying to acquire something, trying to attain something. Um, and that brings me to another subject that I wanted to talk about, uh, and that's this one thing that, especially in the field I work in, and helping people to become their best selves, helping people to get to a place where their life looks the way they picture it, right? Where they can see in actuality the things that they visualize in fantasy. Um, and we get there by understanding ourselves, by making ourselves the best that we can be. We start to attract the things in our life that we want. So as I'm helping people with this, and a lot of it comes from changing mindsets, and some of it comes from working on ourselves physically, which is a big part of it, because we manifest as physical vessels. We are a spiritual being. We are a complete energetic being, but we manifest our reflection, right? What everyone else can see is our physical being, right? And that's what shows up first. And sometimes we get caught there, and we don't do the deeper work. But if we ignore the work of the physical vessel, then we're never able to go any deeper, right? We can look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which starts with physical well-being, right? If you don't feel safe and secure, if you don't have your physical needs met, then you're not going to be able to elevate to that higher level of, okay, now what can I create with my mind? what type of legacy can I leave, because your needs aren't being met, and we have to do that first. So the physical work is definitely important, but a lot of times as we're working on that, the biggest issue a lot of people have is they say, I want a body like hers. Or they may even talk about themselves. I want to look like I looked 20 years ago. Um, or I want six pack abs. Or I just want to be strong enough to walk down the street without being out of breath. And then other things people talk about. I want to work for myself. I want to start my own business. Um, I want to be financially secure. I want to be wealthy. I want to have a happy relationship with my spouse, or I want to find a spouse that I can have a happy relationship with. All these things that people talk about wanting, right? There's something attached to it. There's a thing, right? There's a vision that they can see, something that they want in the future out there that they don't see that they have right now, and they understand that it requires change. And the biggest problem that people have is, I want this, I want that, but I don't have the discipline, or I struggle with the discipline, or I see this person that has this great life, and I wish I had things like them, but they're so disciplined, it comes so easy for them. So the biggest thing that becomes a problem is a lot of people feel like they lack discipline, right? They feel like, or they think that, sometimes we confuse feelings and thoughts, right? People think that uh, I am not disciplined enough to achieve the things I desire. I hear you telling me what it takes, but I struggle with it so much because I don't have discipline. That's just not one of my natural strengths. This is a common thought for a lot of people, right? This is a common conversation I have in the work that I do. But I want to talk about discipline. I want to break the word down. I want to help you understand, because as I had mentioned before, when we're talking about your intrinsic value, right? And the beauty that is you already have. And I'm going to say this a lot. You might get tired of hearing it, but I want you to remember it. I want it to sit there, and that's why I say it so often. It's going to come up in different discussions, but it's always going to ring true. You have and you are all that you will ever need. So we need discipline. But you say you're not disciplined. And yet I'm telling you you are. And I'm going to help you understand that. So what I did is I actually wrote down the definition of discipline, and see if we can see it. Let's see, maybe I can flip my camera and make it easier. Alright, camera's not being friendly with me, so we're just going to look at it like this. Let's see if we can see that. Alright, so hopefully y'all can see it, and even if you can't, I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. But discipline, the noun version of discipline is what we're going to talk about, because it can be both a noun and a verb. But the noun version of discipline is the practice, right? That's an important word. Remember, the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior. All right? The next part of the definition is a controlled behavior resulting from training. Then we have activity or experience that provides mental or physical training. And another one we have is a system of rules or conduct. So now we talk about discipline. We talk about being disciplined, having discipline, acquiring discipline. Did I say it? Acquiring discipline. Because what's that first definition? The practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior, right? And then the last one is a system of rules or conduct. So when you say, I am not disciplined or I don't have discipline. What you're saying is you don't have a system of rules or conduct. You don't have the controlled behavior that results from training. Well, let's dive into this part first. I'm going to tell you that you are incorrect. That you, in fact, do have a system of rules of conduct. That you, in fact, do have controlled behavior resulting from training. You see, the choices that you make that are creating the life that you live right now, that may not be exactly the life that you desire, those choices are not at random. Those choices are not sporadic. Those choices are a system of controlled behavior with which you act, with which you live. For instance, let's just talk about the physical body, right? A person carries extra fat on their body. A person is overweight. A person is not in great physical shape. What are certain behaviors that we necessarily attribute to that person? That we think, well, if a person's overweight, maybe they're overeating, right? Maybe they're not eating the most healthy things. Maybe they are not exercising regularly. Okay? I'm going to give you an example of one person, right? I'm not going to name any names. We're just going to talk about a particular person. And now this person, a friend of mine, eats late at night, eats large portions. Actually, this person sometimes will restrict themselves from eating, and then when they get hungry, they go into the refrigerator and eat anything they find in the refrigerator. And they continue to eat until they feel overfull, right? This person also does not take the time to exercise, but instead, when they come home from work, they turn on the television. They sit down and watch the television until they're ready to go to bed. Then they get up the next morning, they go to work. They come back home, they turn on the television, and they watch the television until they're ready to go to bed. Now, this person over years has continued to do this. This person has gained weight. We're not saying that a particular weight is bad or good, but we're saying that this person is at a heavier weight, and this person personally is not happy with the weight they're at, because when they look in the mirror, they don't like what they see. They don't like what they think other people see, and that bothers them. They don't feel healthy because they're not physically healthy. They're not able to walk very far without getting out of breath. They're not able to control the weight of their body very well. But all of these things are coming from the behaviors of their lifestyle, right? Instead of exercising, which they know the body needs to exercise to function well, they know the body needs exercise to use the calories that they're eating. But instead of exercising, they sit down in front of the television and watch it. Instead of making a choice to eat fruits and greens and healthy things, they may pick up McDonald's. They may go to Whataburger. They eat fast food, right? They eat Taco Bell. They eat all these things that they know aren't the best for them. When they do cook a meal, it might be something heavy with lots of dairy, lots of grains, and they'll eat large portions of it, right? They don't want to waste the food, they say, so they'll go back and eat the leftovers, but they'll eat them the same night, right? Even though their body's not using the energy from the food, they're eating it because it's there. And this is not random, this is not sporadic. These are behaviors that this person has adapted to. These are behaviors that this person has picked up and added into their life over time. You see, this person does not lack discipline. In fact, this person has discipline. This person has a system of rules of conduct that are contrary to the life that they claim they want to live. You see, if you show up a certain way in life, you're going to have the life based on those behaviors. So if you're saying you want a healthy body, you know that there are certain behaviors that are required to have a healthy body. But you say, I don't have the discipline to have it. But you have the discipline that led to the body you have now. You do. You have practiced and you have trained yourself to continue the behaviors that you're showing every day. And it sounds like I'm beating you up now because I'm telling you, oh, you're making the choice to live the way you want, to live the way you live now instead of the way you claim you want to live, right? But I'm not beating you up. I'm just helping you understand that when you say I'm not disciplined, I don't have discipline, you're wrong. And it's a good thing to recognize that, because now that you see I do have discipline, you understand that it's just as easy to change that system of behavior, right? So I've trained myself. I practiced all these years to eat the wrong way. I practiced all this time, all these years, to sit around and watch television. And that's why I have the life that I have. That's why I have the body that I have. So if I want a different body, and I know that different behaviors lead to that, I'm not lacking discipline. I just have to change the things that I've disciplined myself to do. So now let's go back to the definition, and we talk about the first one being the practice of training, right? Simple. We know that practice isn't something that happens one time. Just like you didn't get to an unhealthy weight by overeating one time, you didn't get to an unhealthy weight by skipping a workout one time. You got there by a controlled behavior, right? You got there by doing the same thing day in, day out for years. Now it's showing up. If we want something different to show up, we do something different. Can't do it one time and say, it's hard for me to keep doing it. Of course it's going to be hard, because you're used to doing something different, right? You are disciplined to do something other than go to the gym a few times a week and work out. Take a short walk every day. Breathe deeply through your nose. Sleep a full 8 hours a night. Eat healthy fruits and vegetables as meals. You're disciplined to do things other than that. But you understand these are the things now that you have to discipline yourself, right? Now we're using it as a verb. You won't have the noun discipline until you start to incorporate the verb discipline, where we're training ourselves through practice to follow the same controlled behaviors that we know lead to the life we want to live. Ah, there it is. I have and I am everything I ever need. I have discipline. I have the ability to train myself through practice to follow a certain code of conduct, code of behavior that's going to get me down the path I want. So if wherever I am now is not where I want to be, then I need to recondition the behaviors that I have in my life, and I'll start showing up, right? I'll start seeing the life that I want to live, based on the behavior that I'm practicing. It's a part of me. It's a part of you, right? There's nothing that exists that you don't have. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope that lands. And if you'd like to discuss it further, go ahead and hit me up. I'm always available. And we can see how you might be able to develop those practices that are going to lead you to the lifestyle you want. Namaste. I love you. Stay beautiful.